What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. We're here again at WRXperts for another detailed install. I'm here with the owner, Juan.
How you doing, guys? We're gonna go ahead and be installing a Torque Solution firewall brace. It's meant for the 15 plus WRX or STIs. It's a very simple install. It's not too complicated so long that you have the right tools for it. If for some reason you feel a little intimidated, you wanna just bring it in, we'll be more than happy to get you squared up with it.
All right, let's get started.
All right, always first, disconnect the battery. And disconnect the ground first. Just throw it to the side. Go ahead and take off the intercooler. Start with an 8mm. Get to the clamps first. Then you're gonna go for 12mm. And get the mounts. Then you're gonna go ahead and disconnect the bypass valve. Just be careful. Sometimes the gasket falls. This one's stuck on there, so it's good. And all you gotta do is just manhandle this intercooler. We'll take it off. So we're gonna go ahead and take off the pitch mount. Then you're gonna do the back one. Put that to the side. All right, so basically we're gonna remove this whole line along with this hard line. So first things first, get yourself a hose clamp. You're gonna clamp the clutch hose. This is basically 15 plus WRX and STIs. They share the reservoir with the clutch and the master cylinder for the brake. Get a box wrench, 10mm, and you want to break loose this fitting on the actual master clutch pump.
So it's recommended to have little hands?
Yeah, little hands always help.
That's why you guys have JC?
Yeah. And fittings out, lines out of the way. Go ahead and break the banjo bolt on the slave cylinder. Make sure when you take it out, there's two crush washers on the top and bottom. There's a crush washer on there, and the other one is still on the slave. Get a 12mm. You get a bolt back here on the brace. Go ahead and just make my life easier with a swivel. 12mm bolt out. And then you have the starter lead. It's clipped on there to the brace. Get yourself a needle nose. Squeeze the ends. And basically it's out. And then you're just gonna have to patiently work the line out of the way. This is just the clutch line that connects to the hard line that goes to the master cylinder. So we're making room for it because the brace is gonna be in this way. Mm-hmm. The kit already comes with a stainless steel line, so you're gonna notice a little better pressure on the clutch versus the rubber hose. Mm-hmm. So it's a nice little upgrade at the same time.
So right now when you disconnected it, what were you touching on, what side?
Basically first we disconnected the feed to 10mm, which is this fitting here. Mm-hmm. And then we got a 12mm bolt that goes on that firewall right there. And then we disconnected the 14mm banjo bolt that goes onto the slave cylinder. Okay. Now sometimes I just noticed the bottom crush washer was stuck to the line. Just be careful with it because I like to use the OEM ones. Okay. But you could get away with using the one that comes with the kit. We got the fitting and the hard line. Stainless steel line. First, you're gonna put the fitting on. All right, so we got the fitting that's gonna go on the pump first. Just make sure the AN side sticks out. If you're turning it by hand, you should be able to get a good amount of threads before it gets tight. If it starts up getting tight in the beginning, back it up and start over again. That's how you run a risk of stripping it. I believe this fitting is a 14. So we're just gonna go ahead and tighten it up some. Then we're gonna go ahead and get the line. Now, this one's super long. So basically you wanna loop it this way to come back around to the actual slave cylinder. So I'm gonna mount it in this angle. If it gets tight at the first threads, back it up and start over again. And this one's screwed up all the way. I believe that's a 14 again. Just as you tighten it, make sure you hold it so it stays facing the brake master cylinder. So you're gonna loop it back behind here. Keep in mind he's got an AOS, so if it's a stock car, it won't have it. I'll spin it until we have a nice little curve to it. You're gonna get your banjo, make sure the washer's on there. You're gonna put it through the line. You're gonna get the other bottom end, make sure it's on there. Now this one's a little tricky as you have to turn it to be able to get the angle on the actual slave cylinder. As you can see right here, it's a nice little cutout. The line won't go anywhere. So right there, go ahead and just tighten it by hand. We're gonna go ahead and tighten up the banjo now. This is something you don't want to go too crazy, just nice and snug. You're gonna go ahead and release the line. Now my trick, I'm bleeding it. I'll push it out and let it slowly pop back out. Now, once you have the line, you might have to do it a couple of times and pump it. Some people like to use the bleeder. Basically, I get an adjustable wrench. I'll pull it out some. And as you notice, the slave cylinder is coming out. So right now it's sucking up fluid, and then I'll just release it. And then I'll pull it out again. It's just to fill up this line with fluid, because the slave cylinder already had fluid and the pump had fluid as well, and since I locked it, it wasn't dripping out. So by doing that trick, you're gonna come over here. The first few times you're gonna see the clutch get stuck, but then after it'll start building up pressure, and now clutch is nice and solid. You don't have to worry about that. And as you can see, if you want, go ahead and record the pump so you can see the slave cylinder move. So you have these two nuts on each side of the actual master cylinder for the clutch. We're gonna have to take those nuts out. You're gonna be utilizing those studs. You're gonna be utilizing this threaded hole on the firewall. Now here's a tricky part. This harness has a plastic little bracket that clips into the actual firewall. We're gonna remove that. Me, I like to get a little flat screwdriver, pop it off. You're gonna wanna move this harness out of the way. These two holes that you see there, if you notice they're not threaded, they're just holes. Well, the torque solution kit comes with these inserts. These are threaded rivet inserts. So basically it already comes with a tool for you to go ahead and just slide them on. You're gonna use a screw to pull them back so they can lock in place, and now you'll have threaded holes for the brace. So you're gonna get together, you get the threaded insert, you're gonna get the black little 6-sided 10mm bolt. You get your tool, you're gonna put the bolt with the washer up against here. You're gonna get the thread insert, screw it all the way in. Now it's set up. You're gonna get yourself a 10mm, set up the rivet there. line up the bolt. And then you're gonna back it off again, the bolt. And now the insert's stuck in there. Same thing twice in those two holes. Don't go too crazy on it because it'll get to a point that you'll pull the threads off of them. So you want them snug enough that they're gonna lock in place, because basically this is just gonna crush down and bite into the actual firewall so they don't spin anymore. And now your firewall is threaded for. Torque solution goes ahead and includes a spare one. In case you screwed up the first one, you'll just have to drill it out, come back again, and try it a second time. You have two washers, two Allen bolts. You're gonna notice there's gonna be two long, skinny Allen bolts and one bigger. You're gonna get yourself a 5mm Allen, and all you're gonna do is just present it in place. We'll start the first one, and then you're not gonna tighten this one down. You're just gonna present it. So next, what we're gonna do is you're gonna go ahead and take off these two nuts that are holding the clutch master cylinder. Just unbolt that. I'm gonna loosen them up. Unscrew them by hand. These have a tendency of dropping under the car, and I hate getting under the car and looking for nuts. No pun. When you have long fingers, it makes life easier. So those two nuts are out. Those two nuts that you took out, these are where it's gonna go in, and then this is the other Allen bolt. So you're gonna fish it right under the pump, and now it's on there. You're gonna get these nuts again. Again, you're gonna reach in, start them by hand. This one's a little trickier on this side, so I like to use my socket just to get them going. Don't fall out. And it fell. Dropped it. After I dropped it already a whole bunch of times, just get the nut, a little tape on it. No more falling out. All you're gonna do is just put it on the stud and then just screw it on. And voila, it stays on. Nice. There, it should have done that from the beginning. Yeah. You're gonna notice one of the washers, the hole's bigger in diameter. For the bigger Allen bolt is a 6mm. Yeah, move this line out of the way, give you some clearance. And you see you got a hole right there where it's gonna go in. The whole thing is this, the alignment of it. When you put the pitch mount, you wanna have a little bit of play, because you're gonna have to fight with it to fish it through. So now we have the brace already pretty much set up. It's a little loose, but we're gonna go ahead and set up the pitch mount. Again, shout out to Torque Solution. Go ahead and put the bottom one on first. Now, you're no longer gonna use the stock bolt, because Torque Solution already includes a bolt. So you got 17mm bolt. You're gonna put the washer on it. And how this works is you know, slide it through the hole of the brace first, and then if you move the pitch mount back and forth, you'll finally feel it, that it'll just puncture through. You gotta find where the threaded end on this side is, and as you can see, I'm already through it. Can't pull the bolt back out. And then this one, as you tighten it, it's gonna go through the threaded part, and it should come out on the other end of the other side on the bracket, coming through on that end. So before we go ahead and tighten that up, we're gonna go ahead and put the bottom bolt and nut combo. People always make this mistake. Bolt goes from this side to the other side, and put the nut on the other side.
So where's the common spot that it cracks?
On these, the way the bracket itself is welded onto the firewall, so from hard launching the car, it will eventually, from the motor yanking, it'll eventually pull this out and separate it from the firewall. I mean, most of the time I've always seen them from here, from this part of the lower part of the firewall on the other side as well. So this just helps you add another brace to it. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and tighten up this one, 17 first. All right, so this side is nice and tight because now the bolt just threaded through and stopped there. So we're gonna go ahead and get the 14. All right, we're gonna go ahead and tighten up. Now that we tightened up this bolt, tightened up the pitch mount, we could go ahead and tighten up these two. Again, don't go too crazy until they're nice and tight. All right, now on the other side, you're gonna go ahead and get the nut, 17 millimeter nut with the washer. You're gonna put it over the stud on the other end of that bolt. Thread by hand the nut. This is a little tricky because of the coolant lines are in the way, but you could fish it. Make sure it's nice and tight. Next, you're gonna tighten up the 12 millimeter nuts on the pump. Is that Allen bolt that we need to tighten up. And I dropped it again. Keep yourself a magnet that's gonna come in handy. You can go ahead and tie wrap the lines away from the starter lead. I usually just tie wrap them to the AC line. That'll keep it away. Torque solution includes them, I forgot. Tie wrap it. They give you 4 in case you mess up. You only realistically, you only need 2 of them. Now, the line is away from the starter and you are done. As far as the brace is concerned. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and put the top mount back on. Everything is already set up and bolted up already. Go ahead and start the coupler first. Trick is to pop this on. And then just wiggle it. Here you get your trusty pick. And just make sure that coupler's all the way on. Now it's nice and flush. Tying up that 8 millimeter clamp. Bypass valve. This one already has the gasket already stuck on it. So you go ahead and just present the bolts by hand. You're able to get a couple of turns. Tighten it. Get the bracket. You're gonna mount it onto the intercooler first. Last one on this side. Because it drives me nuts, always remember to put the hose back on the clip. And we are officially done. All right, don't forget. Connect the ground back. And you're good to go.
Nice. All right guys, so there you have it, a pitch stop brace installed by WRXperts. Also, shout out Torque Solutions for an awesome product. WRXperts also backs them up. Great company, great products. Well guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks.
Wait. I remember my Instagram. It's WRXperts at AutoWorks. Check us out.
It's at WRXperts AutoWorks. You still messed up.
I still messed up.